This week, McClernand's unapproved expedition proves successful. I mean, in that he wins a battle, but that was kind of pointless, so... Hello and welcome to Civil War in Hindsight. I'm Lieutenant Tommy. With me, as always, is Prospector Johnny. And Johnny, we open up this week with some pretty crappy news. So,
of course,
yay!
How bad?
War. Not that bad.
Did we lose?
No.
Okay.
No. On the 9th, Marmaduke, after losing at Springfield, is going to go ahead and take over the Union garrison at Hartville, Missouri.
Shoot.
I don't get this. These garrisons are armed. They have soldiers. The soldiers have guns, but they're just like, fuck it, and they give up at any sign of rebels coming. Like,
do they not
know you can fight, right? It's a thing you can do.
Well, maybe not. Is the orders not getting to them? Are they unaware that there's a war going on? Maybe they're just in the dark about all of this, and they think they're doing a drill of some sort.
Apparently, they're not watching our series. That's what's going on. On the 10th, Johnny, McClernand's unapproved expedition has actually arrived at Fort Hindman. His naval guns are going to easily silence the Confederate guns in the fort, and he's going to move his forces to surround the fort and take the first line of defenses on the 10th away from the Confederates underneath Brigadier General T.J. Churchill.
Let's go. Yes. All right. So we got it.
Yeah. Well, not quite yet.
Unapproved.
Unapproved.
But he did it.
So all through the 10th and into the 11th, those Union gunboats are going to batter Confederate positions at Fort Hindman. And on the morning of the 11th, McClernand's forces are going to begin their assault, which is going to last for 3.5 hours. And the quickly outnumbered Confederates are going to finally say, we're done. You got it.
Hey!
It's yours. You have more cannons than we do. You have more men than we do, and we don't feel like doing this anymore.
Yeah, your gunboats are pretty big and stuff. We're kind of tired of that noise and bombardment and everything, and we did it. We took it, and it's ours.
And Johnny, this is an actual battle, so we got a casualty report.
Oh, good. Love that.
For our efforts, the Union is going to lose 134 killed, 898 wounded, 29 missing, to Confederates' losses of 28 killed.
I'm sorry?
81 wounded, and 4,791 captured. So,
is that how many were captured? Go back up to the first two numbers again.
28, and then 81.
And then 81. So 100-ish
total.
Versus
1,000.
1,000 or so. And we won. That was a victory.
That's a victory.
It's a
costly victory.
Good job, McClernand.
But it is
McClellan with an evil
victory.
Mustache.
Mustache, yes, yeah. Grant is immediately going to call back McClernand to his original positions.
I'm sorry?
After this battle, saying you did not have authority to do that. It was completely and totally pointless to do that because, you took the fort, but
he did
has no bearing on military value for our operations against Vicksburg. So what the shit are you doing? You just wasted 1,000 people for nothing.
But he got 100, and then he got the fort.
It's like he got like 4,700 prisoners that we now have to feed. So there's that.
Which is
that
great.
Was good. That's nice. So,
and we don't have to, do we? Do we have to? I mean,
you gotta.
Yeah. Can we just let them go in some of the woods and they can get rabbits and berries and shit? We could just surround a small patch of woods. That's not. They can hunt each other.
You can't feed.
They can't.
Feed the prisoners, or at least we should.
Well,
it's bad optics.
We
bad
did
optics
go ahead. Well, you say that, but we did go ahead and not feed those Sioux prisoners that ended up having a revolt, right?
And look how that happened. Look, there's a whole other war that happened because of that. So
Well, and the revolters got hanged. So.
Yes, they did. They did. You remember the lone ship, the CSS Alabama?
Oh,
remember that one there, Johnny?
Yeah.
It's actually going to engage in a duel with the USS Hatteras, a rare, but very rare ship-on-ship, one ship to one ship occurrence in this war.
Did they take 30 knots apart from each other or whatever
Yeah,
and then turn and do it.
yeah.
Like, what's a pace
and,
if you're a ship?
Fortunately, I would say not, maybe, I don't know. And unfortunately, the CSS Alabama is going to sink the Hatteras. So can somebody please deal with this one? Like, they have one ship, and we can't figure this shit out.
Lieutenant, if I were president, we would have this ship taken care of because you know my plan, which is to send our entire naval force after it and surround it. And I don't know, apparently, if I take McClernand's mentality, it doesn't matter if I just do a full circle and just fire across and maybe sink a couple of my own ships, because I'll get theirs. So, 10-to-1's a good exchange, right? That's a good exchange rate.
10-to-1 is a good exchange.
On the wrong side of it.
What it seems to be. On the 12th, Trader President Davis gives the State of the Confederacy address to Congress, to the Confederate Congress, that is. And he says, yeah, we're doing great.
Oh! So he's going like the full just propaganda route here and just...
He does point out that they have successfully halted Union forces in Virginia, which they did.
Okay.
And he has successfully defended Vicksburg up to this point, which he has.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
But he's overlooking the whole, we don't have no food, no guns, and no foreign aid coming in. Yeah, he does say, like, we've got some prospects. I'm talking to an English dude, and he seems like he might know, the crown, maybe a member or two of British Parliament. And
and he seems like he might know the crown because he talks with a funny accent, and that's good enough.
Because I have to remind you,
he talks real fancy, and so I just listen to him. I don't know. Says he knows the
as of now,
get us an in. I paid him a bunch of money.
There is still not a single country in the world that is recognizing the Confederacy as a country.
Because they're not legitimate.
Because they are not.
They're a belligerent nation.
That is correct. So, yep. He's also going to say that the Emancipation Proclamation is going to lead to mass extermination of slave owners, as the slaves are going to naturally rise up against them now.
Well, seems fair. I'm going to be honest. That's a little bit of you get what's coming type of deal, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
maybe if you didn't treat your slaves so poorly when they got freed, they would just say, oh, all right, thanks, and I'll go find a job somewhere. Thanks for letting me learn skills or whatever. But if you treat them like shit and then they're free and they kill you,
kind of had it coming. A Union expedition, Johnny, into Arkansas is going to begin on the 15th, but that good news is going to be followed up by Confederate forces seizing U.S. gunboat Citadel and three other vessels that are transporting Union wounded. Those wounded are actually going to be put on one of the boats and sent on their merry little way, while the other three vessels are going to be burned and scuttled. So
I'm sorry, how dumb are they? They did what? to naval vessels when their navy is depleted to one ship? They
burned and sunk them instead of
boats? Do they not know how to pilot a boat? Is that the issue? They just don't know how it works? Were they confused that it was on water and got mad and just started destroying it because they were too stupid to realize that they could have stolen it and used it as their own? Holy shit. You deserve to lose the war just for that, Confederacy. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Federal forces, Johnny, have actually authorized the raising of colored troops for South Carolina Volunteer Infantry to be commanded by Colonel Thomas Wentworth Higginson. So we are now legitimately...
We're employing a German to look over the slaves?
Wentworth Higginson? Yeah, I guess Higginson's probably a German name, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Seems like... What bad have the Germans done so far in this war? Ignore everything that happened in Missouri. But
I mean, I always do.
They're gonna, so now not only are we allowing them to serve as as cooks and as
now
engineers, all that stuff. Now we're gonna give them shooty bang bangs and send them off to combat. So more. Hey, you know what? More free troops, more labor. Why not? I don't see a downside to this. Like.
This is, I mean, it's a long time coming. Like, who
better
more
to
game
fight
in
this
the
war
fight?
than the people that we're trying to free with this war? right?
this kind of impacts them the most,
It does.
I think.
A scotch. A scotch.
Yeah, just a little bit differently than it impacts them. But so maybe let them fight. Maybe let all of these people who have been, working hard labor on farms their lives, maybe employ them into your military and let them fight.
Maybe far more successful as a soldier than I will be. I will tell you that.
I mean, that's a long list, Lieutenant Tommy.
Finally, Johnny, we got some good news. As the U.S. Navy has 3 gunboats, they're going to attack the Confederate gunboat, the CSS Cotton, at the Bayou Tiche, Louisiana.
Oh, down in
the Cotton is
Louisiana,
going to
be... Yep.
Down in Louisiana. The Cotton's going to be
sea.
scuttled the very next morning by the Confederate forces, as they are... They got no hope. So sink it so that the Union can't take it. And rename it.
They just really love sinking boats,
Eagle.
don't they? They're just,
They really do love sinking boats.
on account of how
enemies.
eagles are known to sink down into the sea. That's where the name? They're like, oh yeah, because if an eagle gets into it, they
we'll rename it to the Eagle. Yeah.
sink.
Yeah.
Die.
Johnny, the week is going to end with a Union expedition into Arkansas, the one that we talked about a couple days ago. Yeah, they're going to go ahead and burn down Mound City, Arkansas, like just burn the whole city because they're like, that's where we think the rebels are coming from. So we're going to...
Because there was a city occupied
burn that whole city
exclusively
down.
by soldiers. And they were
Sure.
using it as a base. And so the Union burned down the city to fight the soldiers.
Sure. Yep.
And not just folks who may or may not even know a war's going on. That,
Yep.
okay.
Ha. That's it for this week in Civil War in Hindsight. If you enjoy Civil War in Hindsight, check out Historic Hindsight. We have a whole presidential series where we talk about how some of the presidents were not people you'd want to meet your daughter, or maybe about how molasses once killed 24 people.